We've got a nice little Saturday coming up. There are 9 games on. Let's preview them alongside Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I'm popular. I'm gonna be popular. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for checking out LockedOnDaily.com. That is where you will find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. Go and do that. While you're there, sign up, do that, but also subscribe here and follow and thumb and bang and get ready for the trade deadline show next Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We are going live. Yep. Apologies for that singing. I needed to do it out of tune so I didn't get copyright busted. So, I would have banged it otherwise. I would have really hit it, but I had to do it. And if you don't know why I did that, bad luck. If you do, thank you. All right. What are we looking at? It's the 1st of February on Saturday. I'm already ticked over into the second month here. We're ready to go. January's in the books. It is National Goat Yoga Month all through February. So if you're looking to do some goat yoga, this is your month. Respect the fine arts. We are talking about these 9 games. Let's get into them. Let's dig into them. Let's figure out what we need to figure out across the schedule. The first game is an early one. We do have 2 early games on. They are, what time are they? 5 p.m. Eastern games? Okay, that's a 3 p.m. Central game, Magic and Jazz. That's how my time zones work, I'm pretty sure. It's the Magic and the Jazz. The Magic are in a scheduled plus spot, even though I forgot to put it up on the screen. Jalen Suggs is questionable for the 3rd consecutive game. You would have to think that he's got a chance to play here, but I don't know. And then Cody Williams on Utah is going to be out. And then I just don't know. Do the Jazz consider Orlando good or bad? I would think with the way that Orlando is playing, that the Jazz would consider them bad. So Johnny Juzang's been out for a while. It doesn't matter if he plays, but I'll just preemptively put Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, and Walker Kessler on the injury report. I'd say you'd get 2 of those guys sitting. I'll also throw Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton's name into that mix, just in case. So I would say those 5 guys, Clarkson, Sexton, Markkanen, Collins, Kessler, you're going to get 2 to 3 of those 5 players sitting out. That's a guess. It's an estimation. It's a pattern following idea. I honestly I don't know. I do not know what they will do, and that is the problem with the Jazz, isn't it? But what do we want to watch for on our Orlando Magic? Goga Bitadze started last game over Wendell Carter, but played 18 minutes. Now, was that because he sucked? Yeah. Was it because the whole team sucked? Also, yes. But you also notice that they sucked, but Banchero and Franz, they got to play more. Goga did not. I'm not even here to make a value judgment of whether Goga or Wendell is better. They're obviously better at different things at times. There's probably better passing from Wendell, more of a threat to shoot, even though he cannot shoot. Better defense from Goga, but it's trying to read what Jamal Mosley's going to do. And my inkling had always been that when Franz and Paolo are there, he wants more Wendell. So I don't know whether Goga continues to start. I imagine he does, considering they moved him into the starting lineup last game. But is he a 20-minute starter and then Wendell plays 26 off the bench? I'm not sure. I am holding Goga to figure it out. On the Jazz, I said that I want to watch Jordan Clarkson, not because I particularly enjoy his game, but it's more about how the Clarkson, Sexton, George, Collier minutes run. I believe George and Collier are must-roster players. Clarkson's fine enough as a stream guy, but I really don't think he's going to be playing much down the stretch here. In terms of stream guys, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's your hold your nose and hope something goes right with it. That's a stream option. Maybe you look at the other options of Mr. Black or Tristan Da Silva or Karl-Anthony, and I don't think you feel good about any of those. And then on the Jazz, I put Isaiah Collier there because he is still rostered in under 40% of leagues. Like I said, he is going to hurt you in field goal percentage, maybe even free throws. But he just needs to be rostered. To me, he's just a must-roster player at this stage. He is starting over Keontae George, which is not something I thought would happen. I would have thought that you'd like to see George and Collier develop as your backcourt of the future, because Keontae's not really a point guard. Collier is, and I'd like to see them together, but they're not doing that. So I just think Collier needs to be rostered. I pretty clearly. Next game is the Atlanta Hawks. It is the Indiana Pacers. That is your next game. The Pacers are in a schedule plus position here. By the way, I'm not listing any teams with what they're playing this week because all of these teams are obviously playing Saturday and nobody plays a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. So all of the schedules, if you are watching on the video at the bottom of the screen, is next week's schedule. In terms of who is out, Bogdan Bogdanovic is out awaiting a trade. Now, this doesn't 100% mean he gets traded. We've seen it in the past. One of the clear examples of this, I believe it was when he played for Memphis, Tyreke Evans. They came out and said, go home, my guy, we're trading you. And they didn't. And then he came back. And then he played a little bit, then he was done again. But he is not with the team because they are trying to trade him. That's what's happening with Bogdanovic. That is not the same story for Capella, although he is still not with the team as well. He's dealing with back spasms, old Clint. They're both out. So Andy Nembhard and Ben Mathurin on the Pacers side of things missed the last game. Mathurin's was an illness, so obviously nothing too serious. But Nembhard's was a back sprain, which, I don't know, doesn't sound particularly interesting or exciting to live through. We'll see what that means. And then for the Hawks, the last game we saw it. We saw Zach Ricochet pop off. And I know that you will hear it. You will hear it everywhere. Not everywhere, but you will definitely hear it somewhere. Oh, he was picked number 1 for a reason. The reason wasn't to shoot 78% because, otherwise every team would have sacrificed everything to get a perimeter wing who's a 78% shooter. So, no, that's not why they picked him. He just had a very, very, very efficient game. That was, I'll say it, lucky. It's lucky that he shot that well. And I don't believe that he's necessarily a must-roster player. I'm not going to dissuade you from adding Zach Ricochet. There's no Bogdanovic. There's no Jalen Johnson. Ricochet will start rest of season, absolutely guaranteed. But that doesn't mean he plays 30 minutes. It doesn't mean he's good. He's been bad, basically every game. So we watch him. On the Pacers side of things, I put there Pascal Siakam because he's on a real hot streak at the moment. I'm not sure if that coincided with him getting the coaches' votes for the All-Star. But he's a top 15 player in fantasy over the last 2 weeks. I don't believe he's going to hold there, but we just keep watching his production. In terms of stream, guys, I still believe that Vic Krejci is the stream, even though it was a disaster game last time. Now, will they continue with him off the bench like they did last game and starting Mohamed Wayayuge? I don't know. Or was that just a Cleveland thing? Because I would imagine going up against Siakam and Turner, not quite the same thing, so maybe Gay is not the option there. So we'll see if they go back to the Krejci-Ricochet combo, which is what they used earlier. In terms of streaming on the Pacers, Aaron Nesmith played 30-plus minutes. I do not care for him as a long-term 10 or 12-team league ad. But if Nembhard and Mathurin are out, he's going to be someone to watch. And also the other thing to watch is if Mathurin's healthy and Nembhard plays, I get the feeling that Nesmith might just stay starting over Mathurin. Because also, by the way, Mathurin, not a 12-team league guy, but I'm pretty sure you're all well-versed in the Benedict Mathurin verse. The Nuggets and the Hornets is the next game. Both of these teams are playing on Friday, so this is a back-to-back for both teams. The Nuggets are in a schedule plus position. Vlatko Čančar is out. I don't know about Aaron Gordon now. He came back from the calf injury. He set out the back-to-back on the 15th of January. It's about 3 weeks ago. So I don't know that he's going to sit this one. He might, and it's against Charlotte, so it's possible, but I don't know. The report was that Trey Mann is out for the season. We have been speculating that for months. That has not officially confirmed by the Hornets. I expect it to come in the next day or two. So wait for that. LaMelo Ball is out. Cody Martin, I'm expecting to be out. Now, the one I don't know is about Ohio Mark Williams because he sat out Tuesday's game. He's out Friday. Now, we always expected him to sit one of these back-to-back games. The Tuesday one was a little bit, I don't know. We'll see. Does he come back here to play against Big Chungus? I would say he does play, but I don't know. And then Josh Green is probable for Friday. We'll see whether he's available here. In terms of stream, guys, the Nuggets options are usually just Peyton Watson. Now, if Christian Brown, Russell Westbrook, or Aaron Gordon are available, you use those guys instead. Watson's a desperation stream for defense. And then on the Hornets, Josh Okogie and Vasa Micic, both options, and same with Musa Diabate if Williams is out. Okogie and Micic probably just want to be held on to 12-10 leagues. You can throw Nick Smith in there as well. He's terrible, but he will have an absolute pop game at some point. I don't know when. He will have one, and then it'll be 20 bad ones. But he will have a big game at some point. The concerning thing with Smith is the way they've reduced his minutes, and that's the concern there with him. Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying. if you were going to get any money back. And then you were waiting and worrying and wondering some more. And now, taxes is as simple as just matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, and everything with 100% accuracy. All so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, and no worries. Now, this is taxes. I'm so sorry, TurboTax. Surely someone wrote this with the pod racing meme in mind. And if you're thinking about taxes and you think about pod racing, well, this is the place to go. So get an expert now on TurboTax.com, only available with TurboTax Live, full service, real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right, let's go to the next one. The next game up is the Kings and the Thunder. We're in Oklahoma City for this one. In terms of schedule stuff, it is a plus spot for the Kings. Now, what we want to really watch here is De'Aaron Fox. There is continual rumors about Fox and discussions about whether he's being traded or where he's going, and San Antonio keeps firming up. And then reporters who were not really plugged in are putting out stuff that it's happened, which, again, don't believe until it happens. That's where we're at with the Kings and De'Aaron Fox. So we want to watch that. In terms of injuries, Doug McDermott was ill last game. Doesn't really matter at all. And then Chet Holmgren's out. And then Alex Caruso left the last game after like 20 seconds of action and didn't return. So I'm just going to go ahead and suggest that he doesn't play in this one, but nothing is official yet. So we want to watch Fox. He was sort of a little checked out in the last game. Who knows what goes on there. There's going to be so many he said, she said, he said scenarios coming out of the Kings about like them. And honestly, the majority of the time, I'm just going to believe anyone who's not the Kings, because Vivek and that front office with the previous front office and the previous ownership, they're all garbage. They have had so many terrible scenarios and terrible situations and terrible miscommunications that they don't get the benefit of the doubt. I am so sorry to tell you. It doesn't really matter. Like, I know that Monty McNair won this Executive of the Year, something that I don't believe was deserved, but that's okay. They have so many reports of actual garbage conduct that I'm not going to believe that De'Aaron Fox went in there and requested a trade. In fact, I believe we heard some information that the Kings went to him and said, hey, we might get rid of you here because, you haven't committed to the extension, which I get. But, watch the way they try and peddle stuff around. It's pretty frustrating. So I'm watching Fox. I'm watching Hartenstein as well. I know that there's really not much to watch on the Thunder, to be honest. But it's Hartenstein. Just what his production is. Do we get any keys or clues into what happens when Chet returns? Almost definitely not. And I just wanted to put a name there. In terms of stream, guys, well, this is where we know we can just get streaming steals everywhere. Because Keon Ellis and the Hong Kong Mattress, Carson Wallace, these are the players that you can stream and they're available. The other option you can stream is Lou Dort. And he's another one who just gets steals. There are so many steals, guys. And we are very much, I believe, moving into an era in the NBA. Steals, I have to check this at the end of the season, but I believe steal rate is way up this season. But we are in the situation where we've always treated fantasy leagues with threes are streamable. And it's true, they're very streamable. But I think we've also got to look at steals that way too. And getting a 2-steal guy and having a real advantage by getting that guy and his value boosted into the 4th round because of his high steals, I think we really need to be toning that down. And I've done that for years about the variance and steals. And we've talked about it a lot. But it's even more so now that everyone who's on the waiver wire is either a threes guy or a steals guy, usually. There's also more free throw percentage guys on the wire. But anyway, that's beside the point. Keon Ellis and Carson Wallace are the guys that we're looking at as stream options. The next game is a one that involves the most embarrassing team in the NBA. It's the Wizards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Wolves are on a schedule plus spot. In fact, we've heard absolutely nothing about Malcolm Brogdon. I'm just going to go ahead and assume he doesn't play for the Wizards again. No idea. Marvin Bagley, also zero update on that. I believe he's out for the season, but who knows? They haven't told us. And then Alex Sarr has missed the last 2 games for the Wizards. And with him out, they've gone with no extra minutes for Valanciunas. You get a bit of Rashawn Holmes and you get some Tristan Vukcevic, who, in deeper leagues, Vukcevic is going to play a role down the stretch here. Very, very certain of that. Don't be surprised if it's a Sarr Vukcevic rotation March 10th onwards. Just don't be shocked with that. Dante DiVincenzo is going to be out for the Wolves. I'm fully expecting that the double Royal Julius Randle is out. They called it groin soreness. That is the NBA team's code for we are lying and they've strained a muscle. So do not expect that Julius Randle plays in this one or honestly for the next 2 weeks. In fact, Randle's not playing before the deadline. He might be out to the break. That is definitely possible. I could be wrong. Maybe he just recovers from his soreness miraculously and then unrelatedly pulls that groin again 2 days later. I don't know. But I don't think he's playing here. Terrence Shannon's going to be out. And then Mike Conley with the thumb issue. I'm pretty confident he plays. Although, if you wanted to get him an extra game off, this might be one to do it. I want to watch. I'm not fitting in anymore legend Kyle Kuzma, who is putrid. He's terrible. He's basically unrosterable at this point because you'll have the occasional big game. But there's too much garbage mixed in. His minutes go down. He doesn't do anything defensively. He doesn't shoot. He is just piss poor. No, we don't. I say I'm watching him. I would do everything in my power to not watch him, but I'm still watching the production to see how bad it is, to see if my call to drop him is correct. Yeah, it is. It's not, but I don't know. It might be. For the Wolves, I put Leonard Miller there. You'll be saying, why have you put Leonard Miller there? Because I just want to see if he can play. I don't know that he will. I believe Luka Garza will get first crack at those minutes. You'll get the Wizard of Noz, Naz Reid will be starting. And then you'll get Luka Garza and probably Josh Minot. But could Miller maybe have a go? I hope so. That's why he's there. In terms of streams, Keyshawn George is starting at the moment. He occasionally gets some block games in there. He's definitely not someone I'm super interested in stashing, but he's at least somewhat streamable. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker is useful as a stream game. Last game, we saw Bob Dillingham put up big numbers, and yes, I called him Bob. He put up big numbers with Conley out, but so did Alexander Walker, and Alexander Walker is clearly ahead of Dillingham in the rotation, so he's the guy that we are going to look to stream there. The Nets and the Rockets is the next game. We're in Houston for this one. This could be a pounding. The Rockets are in a Schedule Plus spot, and for the Nets, Bogdan Bogdanovic is out, Maxwell Lewis is out, Cam Thomas is out, and he's going to be out through the All-Star break, it sounds, which is obviously not ideal. We are moving towards a maybe we drop Cam Thomas spot. I probably wouldn't, but maybe we are. Weirdly, they said that Cam Johnson's day-to-day, even though the initial report was he won't play until the trade deadline. There is no way Cam Johnson's playing. I'm so sorry. Unless a team said to them, hey, we'll trade for him and give you a first-round pick, but can he play? Maybe. Trade showcase. But he's out for this one. Noah Clown is going to be out for this one. Day'Ron Sharpe left the last game with a hamstring injury. He's not on the injury report, and he practiced fully. So we guess he's good to go. All right. Jabari Smith is out for the Rockets. And then last game, the delicate dancer Alperen Şengün was out. We'll see whether he's available. I don't know yet. In terms of what I'm watching on the Nets, or just anything, like Tosan Ebonwan played 30 minutes last game, but could it be him? Could it be Zaire Williams? Could it be Keon Johnson? We also saw last game that Tyrese Martin, their two-way contract player, didn't play. And we're getting to this stage where many of these two-way guys aren't playing. He's at 45 games played. Jared Butler in Washington's at 42 games played. BJ Boston in New Orleans, I think, is at 42 as well, and they can only hit 50. So they're getting to the stage where they're managing their games played until they're able to convert them, if that's what they want. So we'll see about Martin, but if he doesn't play, it opens up stuff for other guys. And on the Rockets, I said this yesterday, recapping the Rockets. Great sign. Tari Eason played 30 minutes. It's also a line in the sand moment. Because if Tari Eason comes out in this game and plays 23 minutes, that means he's either no longer on a minutes restriction and they only want to play him 23 minutes, or his body didn't respond well to the increased minutes and they've had to push him back down. And both of those things are negative. So if he doesn't play 28 minutes a night here, or 29 minutes a night, irrespective of Şengün, well, actually not. Like, if Şengün is back and he doesn't play 29 minutes, it's because they don't want him in that role. Ime Udoka only pushed him to that role because Şengün was out. So it is key to watch, I believe, because he hasn't been playing very well. In terms of streaming on the Nets, Ben Simmons, probably. Again, it's a dart throw on this team every game. And then Dylan Brooks is your perennial, always there stream guy on the Houston Rockets. And you just never know what you're going to get, I guess. Super Bowl 59 is here. It is the final game of the NFL season. There's one game, two teams, and endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. You can predict the first touchdown. You can bet on the MVP. You can bet on the coin toss. And you've got live betting all game long on the Super Bowl. And with FanDuel, that makes you able to adjust your bets as everything unfolds. The live betting feature enables you to stay involved no matter what happens on the field. Plus, you can place a $5 bet before the Super Bowl, and if that bet wins, you can get $200 in bonus bets and then use them on the Super Bowl. Download the app or head to thefanduel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That is fanduel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, let's go through the final two games here, then some streaming stuff. The next one, final 3 games, sorry. The next one is the Lakers taking on the Knicks. Madison Square Garden. It is a Schedule Plus spot for the Knicks. Davis is out for the Lakers. Christian Wood is out. Jalen Hood-Schifino is... He literally might be just non-existent as a player anymore. Like, I don't know. Who cares? Doesn't matter. I'm sure his family does. Gabe Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith missed the last game for the Lakers. So when you're viewing the Lakers box score, remember that part of it. They're questionable here, and JJ Redick says that it's a chance that they play, or it's likely that they return. On the Knicks side of things, Mitchell Robinson will be out, and Pacome Daddier is questionable, and that doesn't matter at all. For the Lakers, there's a few things I want to watch. Max Christie, without Anthony Davis, has usually ramped his usage up and become a 12-team league guy. I would be quite interested in using him at the moment. Rui Hachimura should also get some more shots. Also, remember, he shot 75% last game. That is fine. It's very good to do. Doesn't mean it continues. So we look at how those guys interact. And the other thing I want to watch is Karl-Anthony Towns on the Knicks, because since he had the thumb injury, he's played through it, of course, but he hasn't been able to shoot. His volume is down, his minutes are down. Let's keep an eye on what actually happens here with Towns, how the shooting looks, how many he's taken, and if they're going in, and if it's really just the thumb that's causing this problem. In terms of stream guys, Jackson Hayes looks to be a very good option. Now, he will have some stinkers, absolutely no doubt, but the backup option is Christian Koloko. So he definitely has that first run at things. And then on the Knicks, it's Achua or it's McBride, and you don't really prioritize those players at all. The next game is the Heat and the Spurs. In San Antonio, the Spurs are on a back-to-back here in this game. Jimmy Butler's still suspended. I expect that Josh Richardson remains out. CD Sissoko is questionable for the Spurs for Friday's game. The one we got to watch is Jeremy Sohan, who's available on Friday, but it's a back-to-back. He's dealing with a back issue, so does his back cause him to miss the back-to-back? Well, we'll come back and we'll find out whether he does actually play or not. In terms of what we're watching on the Heat, it was a very disappointing game from Superman Khalil Ware last game. He still played his 30 minutes, but his production was down, his efficiency was down. Unless we see a sign they're moving away from him in the starting lineup, we just hold tight and there's going to be ups and downs. In terms of streaming guys, there's quite a lot of Miami, but Duncan Robinson looks to be an option there. Nikola Jovic, also a pretty good option. Jaime Jaquez, less so. And then Terry Rozier was very good last game. Does that happen again? I really doubt it, but we keep an eye on all that stuff. And then for the Spurs, I expect that Steph Castle continues to start. He was very good in the last game. We'll see what happens Friday. He's very up and down. His efficiency stuff is terrible, but his usage rate and his assist rate has bumped up, and that's important. It's useful. He's not someone I'm super interested in rostering, but there's at least a bit of stream value there for him. The final game of the day, we're talking Phoenix and Portland. In Portland, the giant-killing Blazers, can they do it again in a DeAndre Ayton revenge game, a Tamani Kamara revenge game, a Yusuf Nurkic? Oh, no. Anyway, it's a Schedule Plus spot for Portland. They've had a lot of those recently. Matisse Thybulle is out. Jeremy Grant missed the last game. I expected that he would just be out for a week, but I don't know. They put him questionable, so I'll put him questionable again here. I just thought they'd sit him down, but they're playing well for some reason. They just are, and that is happening. The Suns are on a back-to-back. At the moment, there's no injuries for them. I don't expect there's any risk of Bradley Beal sitting, but we watch that. On the Blazers, I'm watching Scoot Henderson, because if Jeremy Grant returns, Scoot was the one who replaced him in the starting lineup, and again, as he's done almost every time, when he starts, he plays well. And then they bench him so that Anthony Simons can go out there and do what he does. I will be annoyed, but I'm also expecting Scoot to go back to the bench if Jeremy Grant plays. But we want to see, what do they do? Does Scoot play 22 minutes? Does he play 29? What happens to Sharp? What happens to Kamara? What happens to Avdia? Because Avdia and Simons, their minutes dropped down last game. So I don't know. We watch all of that. In terms of stream guys, Royce O'Neal started last game. I think he probably starts again. 30 minutes from Royce makes him streamable. If it's 23, it's not. And Grayson Allen's in that mix as well. On the Blazers, Tamani Kamara is not universally rostered, understandably. He's streamable, and he's a steals guy. I don't think that he's an absolute must-roster guy. There's too much fluctuation and not enough high-level upside for me to get super excited about him as a long-term guy. Let's talk schedule stuff. I already mentioned that there is no back-to-back across the weekend, so you already know that part of it. So let's look at chunks, Saturday through to Wednesday. There are 2 games there which may not be streamable. I think they can be. Monday's a 10-gamer and Wednesday's an 11-gamer. Usually when I'm talking streams, I'll include 10 and 11-game days in this chunky section because about half of you will find that possible. I'm going to go with Nikola Jovic and Duncan Robinson in Miami. I'll go with Royce O'Neal as a chunk play. I'll go with Tamani Kamara, Ayo Dosunmu, and Vasilije Micic. Lonzo Ball would be the option, but the Bulls do have a back-to-back, and I don't expect that he plays. So obviously we're looking at Heat, we're looking at Suns, we're looking at Blazers, we're looking at Bulls, we're looking at Hornets. All of those guys with 3 games over the next 5 nights, so some stream value there. What about 5s and 2s? You know us, we don't believe in calendars. We're here to look at every 7-day period because every 7-day period is important. We value them all. And over the next 7 days, between Saturday to Friday, the Pelicans play 2 games. They play on Monday, a 10-game day. They play on Wednesday, an 11-game day. So, if you were thinking about Jordan Hawkins or Yves Missi, or you wanted to get your BJ on and try Boston in there, you're not going to have any success. That is as bad a schedule as it gets. I don't usually classify a 10-game day as a quality game day or an 11-game day. Again, maybe you can stream, but there's possibilities that you don't. So over the next 7 days, you might, from a Pelican streamer, get 0 usable games. So Missi, Hawkins, Boston, Alvarado, you just wouldn't use them. 0s an entire week from a roster spot, which is a horrific waste. Be aware of that. Let's look at streaming now. Streams of the day. Let's get stuck into them. We'll start with our 10-team stream of the day. As I just fix that part up. Royce O'Neal, profiling as that guy for me. Again, I don't feel super good about what he can do, but maybe. Lou Dort for 12s, Zaire Williams for 14s, and then Isaiah Joe for your deep 16-team plus leagues. For Yahoo points, I'm going to go with Little Chungus, Nikola Jovic. And for ESPN points, Royce O'Neal comes out on top for all the guys who are under 40% rostered. Let's go a little bit more into the 10-team league guys. These are all 65% or below rostered on Basketball Monster. So it's Royce O'Neal, the Hong Kong Matros, Carson Wallace, Lou Dort, Duncan Robinson, Jackson Hayes, and Josh Okogie. 12-teamers are all 45% rostered or below. So we go to Ben Simmons. We look at Zaire Williams, Vasilije Micic, Max Christie, Cormac Christie, Isaiah Joe, and Keon Johnson. And then for deeper leagues, these are all 20% or below. We go to Aaron Nesmith. We look at Larry Nance Jr., who's the backup center in Atlanta with old mate Clint Capella out. You could throw Mohamed Ayuge into there as well. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Timothy John McConnell, Aaron Wiggins, and Haywood Highsmith. And then for points league, someone said, hey, when you do the points leagues one, you don't like my league. They're all rostered. Go a few deeper guys. So I am. I want to go with, at least on these points leagues lists, 2 players who are under 20% rostered. And I hope that covers you off. For Yahoo points. The computer's struggling a bit. Nikola Jovic at number 1. Royce O'Neal, he is under 20% rostered. Tamani Kamara, Stephon Castle, Vasilije Micic, and Zaire Williams are both under 20% as well. So Jovic, O'Neal, Kamara, Castle, Micic, and Zaire Williams. And hopefully my system holds for me to put the ESPN one up. Yes, we did it. All right. Royce O'Neal, Nikola Jovic, Duncan Robinson, Tamani Kamara, Luguentz Dort, and Stephon Castle. And that's the end of the look ahead for Friday. No, Saturday, February the 1st. Good luck with your lineups. Good luck with thumbing up and banging this video. Good luck with what you're doing across Friday night and on the weekend. And remember just to be just a little bit positive. That's all I need. Be a bit positive. Be a bit popular. And just encourage people. Encourage yourself. Encourage others. Not in a corny way. Not in a lame way. Just something good like, hey, good. We can all do it. Little pat on the bum. Little cuddle. A mental cuddle as well. Is that a real thing? I don't know, but I'm going to make it one, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.